everybody, to episode 5 of Book Writing Tips, quick tips for new and seasoned authors, and I am your host, Alba Arango. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the importance of connecting with other authors for inspiration and motivation, even if you're an extreme introvert. So sit back, relax, and get ready to hear some pretty cool ideas of how to connect with other authors. Alrighty then, here we go. This episode will be split into 2 parts like it always is. The first part, I'm going to focus on writers group, both in person and online, and how you can find them. And the second part, I want to talk about other places where you can find and connect with authors, including organizations and forums, etc. So let's get down to it. What is a writers group? Now, there are different kinds of writers groups. So there are motivational writers groups, and then there's critique writers groups. And when I first started my author journey, my very first exposure to other authors was at a writers conference here in Las Vegas, actually, the Las Vegas Writers Conference, which is an amazing conference. But I had never met any other authors. I had never, been around other authors. And that was the first time I was wow, this is actually kind of a cool thing. And I can't tell you how important that writers conference was for me and how it literally changed my path as an author. I'm actually going to dedicate an entire episode to talking just about writers conferences. But one of the things I learned at that writers conference was in speaking with an agent, she actually said to me, "So have you read this in front of any writers groups?" And I was like, no. I didn't even know what a writers group was. And afterwards she was like, well, get some feedback for it before you actually submit it to anyone. And she was so right. So let's talk about writers groups. Motivational writers groups are amazing for that purpose. They're there to motivate authors and inspire them to continue their journey. Now here, when I started attending writers groups, we actually had one called the Las Vegas Writers Group, and I don't think they're around anymore, but they only met once a month. And what they did is they would have a guest speaker come, and it could be an agent or a publisher or an author, pretty much anyone from the whole gambit of the writing industry. And they would come and speak to the group, and we could ask questions, and it was really inspirational. And I love that, but it was only once a month, but it was a great motivator. So I am definitely going to say those kind of groups are fantastic for really helping to inspire and motivate authors to keep going on their journey. But what is probably the most helpful is to have a critique writing group. And this is a group where members can read pages from their writing and get feedback from the other authors. And it's such a powerful tool. If this sounds terrifying to you because you are a very, very strong introvert, let me kind of ease your mind. Attending a writer's group does not mean you have to speak. You are not going to be condemned if you're just sitting there kind of keeping silent. And it is actually very helpful, even if you don't want to speak. I think I did not even read anything to my writers group for maybe a year. I would attend the meetings and I would just listen, because as you listen to feedback that other authors are giving other authors, you learn things that you can then apply to your own writing. So even if you're too shy to read your pages, although one day you are going to have to kind of get those pages read so you get some feedback, but maybe you can have someone read for you if you're really terrified of speaking in public. But getting feedback is so important to help you on your journey. Now, having said all of that, I am going to issue you a caution. When I was starting out and going to different writers groups to see which ones I wanted to go to, I went to one, and I won't say which one because I know they don't meet anymore, but still, I wouldn't want to badmouth anyone. But when I went to this group, there were maybe a dozen or so authors there, and they met in a bookstore. And I, was a new author, and I was just sitting there listening, and I was shocked and they were so mean. And a couple of the authors there were just brutal. I know one woman was almost in tears when she sat down, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And you know what? You shouldn't do this. That to me was incredibly unprofessional. Make sure when you are looking for a writer's group that you find one that has a no blood on the floor. Critique the writing, not the writer. And that's what you want. You want critique of your writing, not personal attacks on someone's, personality or persona. So that's just a piece of advice that I learned in my very early on in my writing career. Now, the Henderson Writers Group here in Vegas. I'm going to do a little plug for them only because, they're the reason why I have published 12 books. Their feedback has been phenomenal. And since COVID, they've actually gone to Zoom. All their meetings are now available every week on Zoom. You can actually participate via Zoom. They do still meet in person. I think it's once or twice a month, but they do have those even available on Zoom as well. So if you don't live in the Las Vegas area and you just kind of want to see what a critique group kind of looks like before you start looking for one in your area, I would advise you to tune into the Henderson Writers Group. I put the link in the description so you can check it out, but definitely check it out and see what it's all about. We have members that even live in Canada and all over the United States. So, you don't have to be a member to join in the Zoom meetings, but you do have to be a member to read. And by the way, that is true of pretty much all critique groups. So whichever group you decide to kind of go to, make sure you kind of check them out and make sure you like their policies and you like the way they are before you shell out any money. Because if you, spend, whatever the membership fee is, $50 or $100, and then you end up hating it there, then you're out that money. So make sure you enjoy the group before you actually spend any money. All right. What if you want to find something a little bit more local? Like the Henderson Writers Group is great if you're in Las Vegas, but what if you're in Kansas and you really just want to attend a writers group there? Where can you go to find writers groups? Obviously, you can try a Google search and see if Google can help you out there. I would go to your local library. A lot of writers groups, small ones especially, meet in libraries, and they're not, very vocal about it because they're more community oriented. So you might find one that is just in your community by going to the local library and asking. You could try meetup.com. They probably will have, if there are any writers group in your areas, their location and the times that they meet. And if you look at all of these things and you're like, but I live in this small town, and I don't think we have any writers group here, you can always start your own. And I know that sounds kind of scary, but you really could do it. Just go to your local library and say, hey, I want to have a writers group. If you know of anyone, let them know. We're going to meet here on Sundays at 2. And you never know if you get 4 or 5 people to show up. That's fantastic. Having a small group like that, oh my gosh, you guys really get to know each other's stuff, and you guys can be really supportive and helpful. Okay. Enough about writers groups. I'm going to get to other places that you can connect with other authors. But before I do that, let's do our weekly crazy law / writing prompt. This week, your writing prompt comes from the state of Kentucky. Now, once a time in history, according to Kentucky law, women may not appear on the highways in bathing suits unless they carry a club. Ha ha ha, what a great law. I can come up with probably 20 different stories as to why they had to make that a law. All right, back to our where you find other authors to connect to. Okay, one of the biggest places you can find is actually professional organizations, but they are big, so kind of keep that in mind. So I'm talking about if you write children's books like I do, the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. I'll put that link in the description. They are a national organization. They might even be international, but they do have local chapters. So they have a Nevada chapter. They have multiple California chapters. And within those chapters, they oftentimes have meetings, they have meetups, and that is a great way to find other authors that write in your genre if you write children's books. Now, if you write romance, the Romance Writers of America is another group that, again, they are focused on romance writers, but it is literally a group of like-minded people who get together. They have local chapters as well. They are this huge national organization. Another one is the Mystery Writers of America, the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Association. I'm going to have links to all of these in the description so that you can go check them out. Just let me give you a heads up though. Each one of these organizations does charge a membership fee, but they do have on their main pages kind of like what the organization's all about. And you can see if they have things you would be interested in, things you could participate in. They all have conferences. I mean, they're a great resource for writers. And that way you can kind of genre down and find authors that write in your specific genre. Okay, other places, there's a lot of forums that you can do. I'm just going to give you a couple of examples of forums because again, you could do Google searches for them as well, or just do writers forums, and I'm sure you'll find a bunch of them. Ones that I have found that I like, one is called the Kindle boards, and I'll put a link to that one as well in the description. The Kindle boards is for basically all things Kindle. So a lot of the people who are on those forums are readers, not writers, but then there's also writers. And all writers are readers, but there is one specific forum in there called the Writers Cafe, and that is specifically for writers in the Kindles. So writers that upload their work to Kindles, and it has so much information. So if you are a seasoned author out there, I would definitely go to the Kindle boards and check out the Writers Cafe because they have, things about promotion and marketing, and they have so many threads on there that you can just go back and read. But that is a great place to, if you have a question about writing, you could post it there. And again, if you're introverted, this is perfect. You don't have to actually speak to anyone. You're just going to have people in a forum that are writers that are responding to your questions. So that is a great resource for you. And other than that, I am going to say Facebook, for all of its, bad and good, it does have a lot of writers forums. So you can actually do a search for whatever specific genre you are writing in, if it's memoir, if it's nonfiction, if it's children's, if it's romance, and there are going to be a plethora of forums specifically for that genre and some writers forums that are general for all authors. They are a great resource as well, because again, you can ask questions in those forums and you're going to get a bunch of responses from other members who are like you, either new writers or were once new writers and now have a little bit of experience and love to share their experience with you. If you have any suggestions of where to go to connect with other authors, if you have a writers group in your area that you would like to share in the comments, please do so. I'm trying to help people here, and I'm hoping you guys are the same, where you would love to be able to help your knowledge as well. That's it for today. I hope it has been helpful and you have found some links in the description that can help you on your journey. Please like, comment, share. I would love to know what you are thinking about this whole podcast. And if you have any suggestions for me, again, just drop them in the comments. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you all next week.